So in this video I will show you how you can tweak some of Laravel's default authentication system, and this would be especially useful if you're trying to use Laravel with your existing authenticating system. For example, if you're currently using MD5 or SHA for password hashing, or if you have a disable field for temporarily disabling users, or maybe you use salt with password. So I will show you how you can do that in Laravel. This would be a two-part video. In the first part I will show you how you can use MD5 for authentication instead of bcrypt or Argon, but we won't change the default of the hasher for Laravel. That we would do in the next part. And also how you can use that disable field for temporarily disabling users. In the second part I will show you how you can change the default hasher. So we will change it from bcrypt to MD5. If you are using SHA, the process is same, and also how you can use salt with password. So let's get started. This is a fresh installation of Laravel 5.7. The only thing I changed here is in this app service provider file. I've added 2 lines. If you show, hopefully you can see it clearly. So this line and this line. Without it, the migration doesn't seem to work. So I also started the server, and I also ran a PHP artisan make auth command. So we have Laravel's default authentication system. Okay, so let's see those. So this is the I also configured the database configuration in the .env file, and right now we have this empty database. So let's run php artisan migrate to have our database. Php artisan migrate. So we have our database, and let's check. Okay, we have our database. We don't have any users currently. Let's create 2 users now. Let's register. Okay, I've played around with this before, so we can have okay, Jane Doe 1 2 3 4 5 6. We will use password for 1 2 3 4 5 6. So register Jane Doe, and then log out, and then register John Doe. We'll use the same password 1 2 3 4 5 6 and register. Okay, we should have 2 users now. Let's check. Okay, we have 2 users now. Let's change Jane Doe's password from bcrypt to MD5. So for that we need to know what is the MD5 hash of 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we can use Laravel's Tinker options, PHP artisan Tinker equal hash MD5, and the string is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's see, and let's copy this. Sorry. Let's copy this and let's paste it in Jane Doe's password. So change it to MD5. Now Jane Doe should not be able to log in. Let's try. jane@doe.com 1 2 3 4 5 6. Not working. Let's try John. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yep. So our goal is to let Jane log in and not John log in right now. So let's close this out. So the first thing we're going to do is we will create a folder here inside the app. Let's create a directory called tuts, and in here we will create a file, PHP file. It's custom eloquent user provider.php. So the PHP namespace is going to be app/tuts. This is a class, it's called custom user provider. This will extend eloquent user provider. Okay, PHP Storm just imported the eloquent user for us, so let's take a look inside this. And what we are looking for is update retrieve by credentials, not this, validate credentials, this. So this method right here is the one that's checking the credential and the password. So let's copy this and paste it in here, and we can see here we need to import that as well. So let's import this, copy and paste, so we have our user contract. Okay, so this is taking the plain password here, and this is matching it against the one in the database, so the hashed password. So let's for now comment this out, and okay, and return we want to return and check if the plain password, the hash of MD5 of the plain password is equal to user get auth password. I'm sorry for the noise. Okay, so this should take care of the problem, but the thing is we are still using this, so we have to go and tell in the config/auth.php that rather than using this eloquent service provider, we want to use our custom provider. So let's call this custom eloquent. And how does Laravel know what to call when someone is calling for this, or this driver is calling for this custom eloquent? It has to go and look for, so we'll register that in the auth service provider. So in here we will say that if someone looks for that custom eloquent, give back the custom eloquent user provider class we just created, and by default that object will have all the properties of eloquent user provider because we extended that. So let's go to our auth service provider and say what we want to say. So what we want to say is that bind this auth provider, and if someone looks for custom eloquent, then run this function function, and in here we will pass app and an array config. Let's just close it out. Okay, and model equals to app config and auth dot providers dot user dot model. Sorry, model. Okay, so right now return new custom eloquent user provider and give this app hash, sorry, and the model. The problem here is it doesn't know custom. Yeah, it's okay. So when the driver looks for this custom eloquent user provider, it will come and see this binding that we have this. If someone looks for this custom eloquent, return this object, and in this object we just altered how you can this hasher check. Okay, so in here we changed our login method. So let's try now if we can log Jane in. So let's go to login. Okay. Oh shoot, my bad, sorry. So which one was that again? Oh, service service provider. Sorry, that's my bad. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's go for Jane at doe.com. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, Jane can log in now, so that's good. So right now John should not be able to log in. Let's try John at doe.com. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, John can't log in, so let's change John's password with the MD5 hasher copy and paste. Edit that. Let's go back and try again. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Excellent, so John can log in now. So but there's a bit problem here. If you take a look, if we go to register controller, as you can see, when you create a new user, this user will still use the old password, old hasher. So if we create a user, it will still have that bcrypt password using that, and then you won't be able to log in at all. So to resolve that, we can do we can copy this and hash MD5 and do this MD5 hashing. For now we will keep this because in the later video I will change the default hasher, then we won't need to manually change this everywhere. So for now this okay, it's okay, and let's create a user now. Let's try. So let's log out and register new user. So let's call this one John Week, and the password will be 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's see. Yeah, you can log in. Let's log out and try to log back in. Okay, it's John at Week, sorry, password.com. Password is 123456. Yep, so it's working. So this is how you can change the default hasher. So if you're using SHA, you can just come here and change the algorithm to SHA 512 or 256 or something like that. So let's get to the next part. Sorry. And in the next part I will show you how you can implement the disable field. So to do that we need to create a migration. So let's create that first. PHP artisan make migration. Let's call it add disabled to users table. My table equals to users. Okay, it's created. Add disabled to user table. Okay, we have that. So what we want is, I don't know why this is running. Let's close it out. So let's take table and add column, and the column, sorry, not this, table boolean, column name will be disabled, and we want to use default value of true. So by default the user will be disabled, and when we roll back we want table drop column, and the column name will be disabled. Okay, so let's run the migration. PHP artisan migrate. Hopefully it worked. Let's go back and see the users table. Yep, we have our disabled field and everybody is disabled now. Of course this is not working right now, so if we go back and try to log in with johndoe.com and password 123456, 3456, yeah, we can still log in. This is not in effect still, so let's go and change that. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to let me show you something first. So let's run PHP artisan route list. So if we come in the login process here, this post method, it's using the login controller and the login method. So let's go to the login controller. If you check here, we don't need it anymore. If we check, we don't have any login method because it's inside this authenticate user, and here we have a login a login method, and all the interesting things are in here. So if we just go down, we'll come back to this, and let's change this. Let's copy this and let's go to our login controller and paste it in here, and we can do this after the validation or no problem. So I will show you what's happening. That's this, sorry, not this. We'll take the request and add another field here. disabled and equals to false. Let's see if this works first, and we also need to change another method, credentials. Here, let's copy this and let's paste it in here, and we don't have request, import class, symphony component, illuminate HTTP request. Yeah, okay, so in here we will have to add this. So okay, so let's try now. This should work now. Let's go to the browser and let's log out John Doe and try to log back in. john@doe.com, sorry, .com, and 123456. Yep, the credentials don't match. Now if we come to John's account here, this is John, and let's change his disabled field to 0, so he's not disabled anymore. Now let's try again. 123456. Now he can log in. Okay, let me explain what's happening here. So in here, if we just print out the request now, at this point dd request. So let's go back to the browser, let's try to log in. john@doe.com, 123456. This is the request, and I think it's in the attributes or request parameters. Yep, we have our token, we have our email address and our password, but we don't have that field we just added. So let's do that after here. So let's print it out now. Sorry, let's go here, refresh, retry. Let's come to parameter request. Yeah, now we have added this as well, this disable field. So what will happen is that it will take this parameters and go to login, and in the attempt login method, these credentials will be called. This will supply the credentials, and as you can see before, there was no disable field. So what it would do is whatever you sent in here, for example, by default we are using the email and the password, and if you've sent anything in here, it will be filtered out in here. So even though if you added something in here, it wouldn't be count, because after this credentials method returns, it will only return what's in here. It will filter out all the other stuff. So we need to change it in here as well. So I think if we go to attempt login, here is the credential used. So it's giving the request method and it's filtering out all the unnecessary stuff. Sorry. So let me explain a bit more how this works. So let's go back to this and delete this. So let's see if we go to login page. We have our login page, and let's come in here, and in the authenticate user, let's see what this attempt method does. This I think is clear now, that this is just filtering out all the unwanted stuff which we just overwritten in our login controller. So let's go to this attempt method. This is a contract or an interface, you can say, and this is used in session guard, this attempt method. And this is this retrieved by credentials. Let's go in here, and this is used in two places: database users. This is also a contract or an interface. This is used in two places. We're using eloquent model now. Let's go in here, and in here, if you look, all the credentials, that email, password, and the one we added later on, disable field, all of them are coming in here, and they're going through this and adding a kind of a where clause. So this would in the end build something like this: select all from users where email equals to blah blah blah, and it would go through all the credentials except for password. So if the credentials is password, it wouldn't go for it. So except for password, in our case we have email and disabled. So disabled equal to, we wanted it to be false or 0. We don't want disable users to log in, and it would get the user. And when this user is retrieved, then we will run the credentials method. Here the user is retrieved by the other criteria, so the email has to match, the user can be disabled, and so then whatever user is found in here, whatever user is returned, that goes through, that is passed in here in the validate credentials. And if we just print it out, for example, now we are using custom eloquent user provider, so let's print out the user. Sorry, 2D user. So let's see the user. john@doe.com 123456. So this is the user that's been returned. So you can see, I think everything. Yep, everything: ID, email, name, email, then password, remember token, created, updated, and also our disabled field. Right? So when everything is returned, this method here, this get auth password, gets this password. So this password is matched against MD5 now, or before it used to run the default hasher. So let's clear that out. Let me show you I can show you the query that's been run. So if we stop the server and if we try to get an error, let's run this again. Sorry, resubmit, yes. Here you can see that what SQL query has been trying to run: select everything from users where email equals to John Doe and disabled equal to 0. No password is used in here. So if you're trying to use some other fields, for example, if you're trying to check if the user is an admin or not, if you have, okay, so if we have any other fields, for example an admin field in here, then, and you want to try something like this, where is it? Not helppoint, authenticate, login control. So for example, if you're trying to use admin, then you have to add the admin as well. Request admin, or let's say you have levels, user levels, and you say this has to be admin, and then the query would also say and level equals to admin. So, and you have to add that here as well. Sorry, level. So hope this was helpful. I will remove this and let's test for the last time. See if this works. No, cancel, just start something new. Let's try jane.com 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yes, she's disabled, she shouldn't be able to log in. Let's change that. She's not disabled anymore. Let's change it to, let's try to log in. Yep, now she can. Let's log out, and we don't want John Wick to be disabled. That would be bad. So let's change that as well. 0. Go ahead, log in. johnwick.com 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yep, now everybody's happy. So hope this video was helpful. Let me know if this works out or not. Thanks for watching.